It's time for our March 2020 plan with me. This month the theme is Daffodils, and I am sharing my tips and tricks for a new weekly layout, a Diol calendar, and of course a Dutch door cover page. Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Shayda and welcome to my journal. As usual, I am using a Baron Fig Confidant notebook. These are linked in the description below. I love this journal. And if you have not set up your 2020 Bujo yet, it is not too late. You can get started at this hobby anytime, so give my 2020 setup a watch. Last month, since I'm following the birth flowers this year, we did violets and that theme was a lot of fun. Some of you were like, why are you doing color if you don't like color? Which I get. I was kind of jokingly complaining about it. Color is just not my comfort zone, but I'm challenging myself to do it this year. So that's what's up. This was my weekly layout for February and I had a lot of fun with it. It's really simple in the middle and then you can kind of add extra designs on the side. This layout I wasn't super happy with. I didn't like this part over here on the left, but I really liked this part on the right, and then that kind of inspired the layout design for the last week of February. So yeah, we're gonna do a new weekly layout this month though that I'm really excited about. And so I'll flip over and I am going to do a Dutch door as usual. So what you want to do if you're doing that is mark 8 squares in on 2 pages or any set number. And then I'm going to do this daffodil design. And my design starts where I'm blocking out a little area where the March title will go. And then I'm placing circles where I want to put the flowers. So give yourself a guide. Don't just start if you're a little intimidated by the drawing process. Set up a guide first. So there's my flowers. The oval will be a flower that's on an angle. And we're going to join all these guys with some stems, some very gently curving stems. And then the part that I always like, adding the leaves. It's just a simple step and you can tuck a few in behind the circles or in behind the flowers for a nice organic look. And then you might want to add some smaller leaves. That'll be a nice design element just to switch up the size. It's such a simple thing, but it adds a bit of detail. And yeah, well, I'm actually going to add some extra leaves on the page below. So when I cut that off, we'll have extras there. Before we really jump into the floral illustration, I just wanted to quickly mention that you are able to print my daffodil cover page. Every monthly cover page is available to download and print on my Patreon site. All the bonus content is just a couple bucks a month. Let's talk about how to draw these daffodils. Mark your center, then you're going to do a line with an X through it. That marks where each petal will be placed, and I'm just doing these pointed oval shapes for petals. I do a circle, and that creates the center. Let's do another one, a line with an X through it, and then you do these rounded or pointed ovals to create all the petals. I'll erase in the center so you can really see, do a circle, and then kind of give it a scribbly line. And we're going to do another one. I know I'm going fast, but I'm doing a bunch. The petals can sort of be any shape. They could overlap a little bit more than I'm doing here. Do that circle in the center, give it a scraggly edge, and then a little curving line to create that funny stamen. Next, I'm going to draw a daffodil on an angle, so I'm starting with more of an oval. Then I'm going to place that first line off of center, so farther to the right, and then you can see that changes the X. Some of the petals are still a normal length, whereas the 2 on the right are very shallow. Then when I place my circle, I'm going to place it farther to the left, touching those petals or where the petals meet. Add a little semicircle behind the circle, and then the stem has like that large sepal. So there's my design. It came together pretty easily, lots of big leaves and big open flowers. And now we're going to talk markers and color. So I thought it would be fun to actually put my color palette on the page below under the calendar. I'm starting with this mustard color from Faber-Castell and then mixing it with this fleshy tone from Koi. And that's to help me get that nice rich orange at the center of the daffodil. I'm also using a light peach, a light warm gray, a dark warm gray, and then a brown. And these exact colors will be listed in the video description below. If you have kind of a rich orange, you won't have to mix. That's just what I had to do. You can mix markers when you need to. So I'm starting coloring this piece with the dark gray, the warm gray. I'm going to use that for the leaves. My color palette is very minimal and understated, which is something that I'm really comfortable with. So if you're a little bit like me and you're not super into color, or you're kind of just warming up to color, we'll say, adding a lot of gray and brown can kind of mute everything and give it that sophisticated touch that I like. So here's where I'm mixing my colors. I am using this green gold from Faber-Castell, and then I just didn't have a rich orange, so using this dark peach koi brush pen helped me get the exact color I needed. For the next step, I'm using my light warm gray, and I am just adding a bit of delicate line shading. You want to add shadow and texture to these otherwise white petals, and that will really just make them pop, and it will also help them to look more white in a way, instead of just looking like they're part of the journal page. And then I'll come in with the Pigma Micron fine liner. This is the 03 nib, and I am just going to outline my petals and the stamen in the center. And then I'll add a bit of line shading as well, although I did do most of the line shading with the 01 nib. Now, the reason I add the marker before the pen is that sometimes adding the pen and then the marker, you'll get a bit of bleeding, so I just find this way is quicker and easier. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Make 2020 a year where you explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity with Skillshare's online classes. Skillshare offers classes designed for real life, so you can move your creative journey forward without putting life on hold. You can learn and grow with short classes that fit your busy routine. It's also incredibly affordable, especially when compared to pricey in-person classes and workshops. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month. You can really learn so much on Skillshare. I've been taking classes on video editing and other Adobe products, and I'll share some of those with you at the end of this video. Click the link in the description now to get 2 free months of premium membership and explore your creativity. You can see I'm adding lots of dark gray and brown, and those colors really frame the white and orange daffodils really nicely. This is a very muted, analogous color scheme, and I'm into that. Yeah, just sort of outlining the flowers. Let the gray be the line shading, and just add a little bit of line shading with your fine liner if you're following along. But that warm gray, that's really your magic marker, your magic your magic thing in this piece. All right, a little bit of line shading with the fine liner, lots of line shading with the warm gray. And then as this came together, I decided to just add a few light gray leaves in behind as well. They just frame the white flowers really nicely again and make them pop off the page. This is starting to look good. I think we're at the point where we're ready to cut the Dutch door. Slide a cutting mat underneath there, underneath just one page. Use a ruler and a sharp paper cutting knife, and then I just cut carefully around the leaves. And that's what it looks like, all done. I like the color palette below. I think that's really cute. And now I'm able to go ahead and add 1 or 2 more leaves. And then because I added leaves on the bottom right, I want to balance that weight by adding a couple more on the top left. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sketching everything in, and I think that's going to look really pretty. As usual, I am adding a smaller illustration on the page below. I'm doing another daffodil on an angle. This one didn't turn out like quite as good. I did find doing the angled daffodils a little tricky, I'll be honest. TBH, they were difficult. So if you're struggling, just do the sort of front-facing daffodils. And then I am using my 01 nib Pigma Micron to do a little calendar on the side here. And I love that color palette below. Did I already say that? I think I did. Anyways, when you flip it back over now, it's really obvious those leaves look nice, everything kind of fits, it's working, our little 2-page illustration has come together. I'm just going to color those in, add that extra fine liner, and I'm really happy with that. Not as happy with the one below, but that's okay. And then I just added a piece of ripped craft paper, like brown paper that was left over from an envelope or something. I ripped it with a ruler, added March, and then for my final little bit here, I just took that peach color and highlighted the days of the week. And now all I need to do is every month I put my goals and my affirmations, which I label focus. And I like that they're kind of hidden by the Dutch door. So I have my main cover page, and then I just have some kind of personal stuff underneath. So I'm just tucking that in there. And yeah, I think that's fun and it's cute, and I'm super happy with this analogous color scheme. All right, flipping over, we are going to do a Diol calendar for March. We did one of these in November and December, and it's a lot of fun. So it kind of switches up the same old with the calendar. I'm just writing March in the middle here. March is pretty easy because as long as your R is on the fold, then you're probably going to get it in the middle of the pages. And then I did this curving line surrounding the month title, and then I'm placing a bunch of daffodil sketches all along that line. Make sure some of them are smaller and some of them are larger. That will help. And add some leaves. And then I'm using my Faber-Castell marker, the black one, to go over that month title of March. You've seen me in some videos, if you follow along often, kind of go over and over that title with my fine liners, my Pigma Microns. And then this month I was like, why am I doing that? I can just use a black marker. So black marker for the win if you are looking for a strong March. And then you can see me going over all of my pencil sketches with the 03 Pigma Micron, just doing a simple contour drawing. Contour drawing is just a line drawing with no shading, at least not at this point. Then I'm adding all of these little circles. Really got to get that circle stencil in my life. Still don't have it though, so sketching out circles, using my brush marker from Faber-Castell to color those in. The brush pen or the marker does not bleed through the page as much as the Pigma Microns will if you need to do a really dark area like a black circle. So use a brush pen for those, and it will not bleed through. And then I'm adding a few lines to the leaves, getting rid of all my pencil marks and eraser dust. And finally, I will take this contour drawing to the next level and add just a little bit of line shading. So when you're adding lines to your daffodils or to any flower, you want to follow the petal. So if the petal is coming towards the bottom left corner of the page, then that's which way your lines are going to face. So always just follow the shape of the petal. Give those lines a little bit of a curve because these are flowers, and just have fun with it. I'm darkening the center of the stamen a little, but I'm not going overboard, just doing a few lines to make everything pop, and then finally placing a few leaves in behind as well. To finish our Diol calendar, we'll use a white gel pen to add important dates to those black circles. For me, it's most of the dates of the YouTube videos. And my favorite white gel pen is the Uniball from Signo. And I will link that in the description as well. All of the supplies that I use are linked in the description, including the marker colors. Finally, I am sharing my weekly layout. I'm super excited about this layout. We start with these rectangles for each day of the week. If you're using a Baron Fig Confidant like I am, the areas, the rectangles, are 7 by 20. And on the left-hand side, I've placed them right at the bottom of the page. Then on the right-hand side, we're doing 3 more rectangles, 7 by 20 squares on the top side of the page, as you can see. Once you've got those in place, we're going to draw a square or rectangle at the bottom of the page, write notes in your best cursive in pencil along the top line, and then when you go over it in pen, that title notes becomes part of the line. I'm placing a little calendar up here on the right-hand side of the top left, going to write March or Mar under M-A-R underneath. And then I will use my gray brush pen to write the numbers or the dates on the top of each square. And then we're going to use our number 1 fine liner 01 to write out the days in our best cursive again, or you could use a simple print if your writing isn't the best. Once you have that basic structured setup done, then you can have a bit of fun and do some floral doodles. Now, I'm not going to get too into this process. This video is already going to be, I can already see it. It's going to be like 20 minutes long. So we will not get into the floral illustration, but I just released a series, a 3-part series about illustrating flowers. And so I will link that in the description below. You can also find it as a playlist on my channel homepage. But all I've done here is I tend to use these basic 4 or 5 petal flowers a lot, and I draw them in different ways at different sizes, and I just place a bunch of different leaves surrounding them, some large leaves, some small leaves, some thin leaves, and I do it in pencil first. So I just have fun, listen to a podcast, sketch out a bunch of leaves and flowers, and then I go over them in pen. So there's really no risk. You're doing it all in pencil first. Think about size, think about varying the shapes, and that's what it looks like when it's all done. Again, I'm going to link that playlist on floral illustration in the video description. And what I did to finish this was, again, I didn't like just how thin and kind of inconsequential my pen title looked there. So I just used that brush pen or that Faber-Castell brush marker and went over it, and it really gives it that nice weight. That is my weekly layout all done. I'm loving that one. The Dutch door cover page was a success this month. The calendar page, it was a lot of fun. And then I left a page in between there just because I was afraid that the calendar might bleed through a little. It really didn't. And then what I do in that case when I leave a page is I just cut a bit of paper or rip a bit of paper, glue it in, or use a bit of double-sided tape, and then I'll just do a very simple illustration and add a little quote. I'm doing a daffodil doodle here, and then I came across a nice quote. A negative mind will never give you a positive life. I feel like I really need that right now. It's just something about winter, like DHL didn't deliver our packages on time, and I just went right past annoyed and was like, murder, rage. So I think it's just the season. If you have a lot of rage in your life, you can comment below and tell me about it. Tell Shayda. Okay guys, that is the plan with me all done. I love this daffodil Dutch door. This daffodil was a bit weird, but it just didn't balance quite perfectly because I couldn't put a lot of leaves on the right-hand side. That's totally fine. We have our little quote page. We have our March Diol calendar. I'll put in all my YouTube videos eventually. And yeah, and then we have this very structured and illustrated weekly layout that I think is going to be a lot of fun, even if it is labor intensive. All right, thank you so much for watching. Just one last reminder that if you are a patron of the channel, you can grab our March daffodil cover page over on Patreon after today's video. All the bonus content is available there for just a couple bucks a month. So that's it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I want to say thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring our video today. Skillshare, as I said earlier, has been a huge help in this house. We do a lot of Adobe tutorials as well as crafty stuff. One that I thought you might really enjoy is this Lightroom class. So many of you ask about how I edit my photos. I'm a Lightroom user. It's not difficult. It's not Photoshop, although Photoshop is helpful as well, but Lightroom, there's so much you can do to really make your photos pop, whether you're building a brand or a blog or just an Instagram presence. If this is of interest to you, use that link in the video description and get those 2 months of premium membership free on Skillshare. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon with a new tutorial.